Hi viewers, welcome to another episode of discussion about sort. In the last video, we discussed about what sort is all about. We've discussed few properties about sort. So in today's video, we'll just be talking about how do we simplify sort. We said sort are just numbers in the under a radical, square root of a, square root of ab. All these are sort, right? So today we want to talk about how do we simplify sort. We just used a to represent it's just the generality of the whole numbers, right? So how about when I say square root of, let's say, 27? Sorry, I forgot to tell you something. Square root of a perfect square is not a sort. What I mean is, square root of 9 is equals 3. Square root of 4 is equals 2. So all these ones are not sort. But when I have something that can still have this expression, square root of a, that makes it a sort. So for instance, this very one, square root of 27 now. How do we simplify? Like I said, simplification of sort. To simplify a sort means to reduce the number in the radical in such a way it becomes the smallest. So how is the process? The process is done through by bringing two factors of 27 such that you leave only the least of them. You try, talking will not help. Let's just, when I have, what are the factors of 27? 1, 3, right? 9, then 27 itself. I guess these are the factors of 27. So you bring out the factors, check for two factors such that one of them is a perfect square. And looking at this, all these numbers, 3 times 9 is 27, and 9 is a perfect square. Then that means the two pairs, 3 and 9, is a good factor to use to simplify this square root of 27. So square root of 27 is same as square root of 3 times 9, right? So we have square root of 3 times 9 is still 27. That means this is equals this, no error, right? So we can still make this to be square root of 9 times square root of 3. Remember the last property I said, where you have square root of AB, this is same thing as square root of A times square root of B. So I have two numbers, just like A and B, being product of each other. It's just to split them under their individual radicals. And recall I said square root of 9 is not a sort, it's just a number, which is what? 3 times square root of 3, which can be written as what? 3 root 3. That means if you simplify square root of 27, to leave it in the short form is just to be 3 root 3. Something else, let's bring another question. Let's say square root of 8. When I have square root of 8, what are the two factors of 8 such that you have a simplified term? This is going, let's use square root of 4 times 2. I guess this is a good example because I can split this to be square root of 4 times square root of what? 2, which is equals, square root of 4 is just a rational number, which is what? 2. Square root of 2 cannot, you just bring back this, right? So if you simplify square root of 8 is same thing as 2 root 2. You can punch your calculator to check it out. If you just press 2 times square root of 2 is going to give you the same result in which square root of 8 will yield. So not only this, let's still take another example. Let's say we have square root of, let's use 20. How about 20 now? You can't, 20 is not a perfect square, but using the method we've been doing, all you need to do is to bring out the factors of 20, pick two factors such that one of them is a perfect square, then simplify things down. As for me, I'll be using 4 times 5. In this topic, this sort, you need to be sensitive, you need to be thinking so broad because there are so many challenging numbers such that you can't just get it without thinking so deep. So square root of 20 is same thing as square root of 4 times 5 because this still yields 20, which is equals square root of 4 times square root of 5. Square root of 4 is just going to be a rational number. Square root of 4 is what? 2 times square root of 5, which is root 5. This is also a simplified form of square root of 20. Not only this, let's still bring another one. Let's say square root of, let's use 45. How do we solve for square root of 45? You need to find two factors of 45 such that one of them is a perfect square, then simplify it down. As for this very one, you can see I'm just thinking of it by myself. If you can form another way to get your answer, it's still fine. So for 45, what are two numbers if I multiply? I'll get 45 and 1 is a perfect square. As you can see, it's just going to be 9 times what? 5, because 9 times 5 is what? 45. So this is going to be square root of 9 times what? Square root of 5, which is equals, what's the square root of 9? That's 3 root 5. So you can see this is how to simplify sort. So if you can simplify it down, that means you can reverse the process. What I mean is I can try to form this to come back to where I got it from, right? So we simplified it down. Let's still bring it back. Let's see, how do we do that? It's another property where I have a root b. This is the same thing as saying square root of a square b, because square root of a, because look at, this can be written as square root of a square times square root of b. Square root of a square is same thing as a root b. So you can see a root b is same thing as square root of a square b. So look at something now. If I'm given 2 root 3, how do we do that? This is same thing as saying square root of 2 squared, because remember the property I gave. This is square root of 2 squared times what? 3, which is equals square root of, what's 2 squared? That's 4 times 3, which is equals square root of 12. You can see that if you simplify square root of 12, you are going to arrive here as well. Let's still find one more example. Let's say we are using 2 root 5. This can be written as square root of 2 squared. Like I said, the term outside is what you have to just square in the square root sign. So 2 squared times what? 5, which is equals square root of 2 squared, that's what? 4 times 5, which is equals square root of 20. So is it true that when I simplify square root of 20, I'm going to get this? It's like we did something like that, right? Look at it. Square root of 20 is 2 root 5. So that means I can reverse 2 root 5 to get square root of 20. One more example. Let's say we want to simplify 2 root, let's use 6. Yeah. 2 root 6 is same thing as saying square root of, what's the process? Remember, square what is outside, that's 2 squared, then times what? 6, which is equals square root of 4 times 6, which is equals to square root of 24. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 examples for this. Let me make this 4 as well. One more example is, let's use 3. I've been using 2. Let's make it 3. So you see that any number I use is still something. So I have 3. Let's say 3 root 2 this time around. Is 3 root 2 equals to 2 root 3? Check it out here. So this is equals square root of, you bring 3 inside, you make it squared, then times what? 2. So this is equals square root of 3 squared, that's 9, times 2, which is equals square root of 18. So that means if I will bring back, or if I will solve this back to get the term I simplified, it's going to be what? Square root of 18. So that's how to simplify sort down. So in case in the coming videos I talk about simplifying sort down, just know that I'm trying to talk about all these kind of things. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to share, subscribe, and comment. And please, you should be